All right, you guys, we are going to talk about carbs and menopause today. This is something that is very controversial overall. And the thing is that there's limited research on the actual helpful data that can be important for women when we're looking at carbs and menopause. And also keep in mind that your specific health can impact how your body processes carbs and how this would work for you. If you have thyroid issues, if you've been under a lot of stress, if you entered menopause early or had a tough time with hormones, it can impact this. If you have gut health issues, it will impact how your body processes carbs. So keep in mind that even though I'm going to talk about this today and dive into some specifics for you, if you're like, yeah, I've tried this or this doesn't work, or how do I know it's happening for my body? Great question. And one of the things that we do to understand what's happening in your body is look at a Dutch test. A Dutch test, my favorite urine test for comprehensive hormones, looking at a ton of information on your body, not just what your hormone levels are, but how your body's processing it. It looks at your adrenal function and everything too. It looks at your nutrient levels, all of this stuff. So, really important when we're looking at your overall system here. Yes. All right. Now, basics here when we talk about carbs and menopause is that understanding when your hormones change, one of the things that changes is your gut. Yeah, your gut changes. This is normal. This is normal to happen. This isn't a bad thing, but you're going to want to do a few different things to make sure you can break down and absorb your food correctly. One of them being getting more fiber in. Another one is going to be eating slower, chewing your food, sometimes getting food that is more broken down, like ground beef instead of a whole steak, right? Or if you do get a steak, you're going to have to really make sure you chew it and break it down to have it be easier on your gut. Things like that are really important and helpful. Gut changes are natural, and your gut changes in terms of how it releases enzymes, what enzymes are released. And if you have eliminated carbs completely at one point, your body will actually lose the ability to break down carbohydrate because of the enzymes you lose. Now, you can get your system to break down those carbs again and kind of replenish some of those enzymes, but sometimes you will need to add in some enzymes to help with that, like take a supplement or utilize foods and things that have enzymes. Kickstart that in your system, right? Just get it into gear. And when your hormones change, the important thing looking at carbs and menopause is that you want a balance here of simple and complex. Most of the time, people are just sticking with one or the other. Or people say, I can't eat bread. Potatoes are bad. Fruit is bad. It's not bad. It's about how your body's processing and using it. And if it's not using it, we just have to help your system use it better. So a balance of simple, so like half and half, right? Half simple, half complex. Simple carbohydrates are fruits, right? Berries, apples, pears, things like that. Complex carbs are potatoes, rice, oats, grains. Just doing a simple balance. And I'm not even talking about gluten-free or things like that yet either. That aside, having a simple balance here is important, and making sure the amount of carb you're getting a day in gram at least matches what you're getting in protein is also important. So if you're only getting 100 grams of protein a day, you would have to keep it to 100 grams of carb a day. And that includes sugars and stuff too. Sugars, if you're like, oh, well, I put some creamer in my coffee, that's fine. It's a simple. You got to count it. You got to count it. What I find most often is that women who are in menopause, you'll be doing a lot of the same things that you did before, and you were like, yeah, I was doing these things before and it worked. Why isn't it working now? Well, we have to have that balance, and then you have to make sure your carbs match your proteins. Baseline thing to start with and do. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's not working for me, what else do I do? How else do I address things? If you are under stress, your body is going to want more carbs, crave more carbs, and also not process them correctly. If you have adrenal issues, and these are things that we look at in the Dutch test, these are things we dive into, making sure we can examine exactly what your system is doing, where it's not functioning correctly, and then address those things so that this can actually happen properly. The number of times I've had gals, it's always my favorite thing where gals are like, oh my gosh, I woke up in the morning and I was hungry. That hasn't happened in years. And I'm like, that's amazing. It should happen. You should be hungry in the morning. And then you should feel full and satisfied when you eat, and you should get energy from your food. A big piece of that is carbohydrates. A big piece of that is carbohydrates. Yeah. So if you're looking at this and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I'm doing this correctly. What do I eat? How do I do that? Again, look at my YouTube. There is a ton of other videos where I break this down in detail. You can also tune into my podcast, The Female Health Solution, where I, have a ton of examples there as well. And then I also list things out in my books, The Female Fat Solution, which is on Amazon, and The Female Menopause Solution, also on Amazon. Just listing out exactly, like, how do I do this specifically? This is a short video to intro to you to this. If you're like, yeah, I want to do it exactly. I have it in a ton of other places, exactly what to do to get started. And if you are needing more help, more guidance, remember, getting a Dutch test is a great place to start. So that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Please let me know if you have any other questions. You can always comment below this video. I do check the comments. And if you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out to me in an email.